What if every book you didn't finish was still dreaming about you? In a small, quiet town, nestled among rolling hills and winding roads, there stood an old library. It wasn't the kind of modern, bustling place you might imagine, with bright lights and the constant hum of computers. This one was different. It was a building made of weathered stone and dark wood, a place that held the scent of aged paper and forgotten afternoons. By day, it was almost always empty. Sunlight would drift through the tall, arched windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. But very few people ever came to disturb the silence. At night, the library transformed. When the last librarian locked the heavy oak doors and the moon cast its soft, silver light across the floors, the building seemed to hold its breath. The shelves, stretching high towards the vaulted ceiling, stood like silent sentinels. They were filled to the brim with books with cracked spines and faded covers. Books that hadn't been opened in years, perhaps even decades. Each one was a universe unto itself, a world of adventure, romance, or mystery, just waiting. But they waited in stillness, their stories sleeping, their characters frozen in time, unheard and unseen. They were stories full of dreams, but with no one to dream them. One rainy evening, as the sky wept and the wind whispered through the eaves of the old buildings, a young student named Alex pushed open the library's heavy doors. The sound of the rain was a constant, drumming rhythm outside, but inside, a profound silence greeted them. Alex felt as tired and empty as the vast, deserted reading rooms. Lately, life had felt like a gray, monotonous blur. The vibrant colors of their own imagination seemed to have faded. I can't even remember my dreams anymore, Alex thought, a wave of melancholy washing over them. School was demanding, the future was uncertain, and the simple joys of childhood felt like a distant, half-forgotten memory. Alex wasn't looking for any particular book. They were just seeking refuge from the storm, both outside and within. Alex began to wander, their footsteps echoing softly on the polished wooden floors. They moved between the towering shelves, running a hand along the spines of the silent books. But as they ventured deeper into the library, into a section they'd never explored before, the air began to change. It grew warmer, softer, as if the dusty, cold atmosphere was being replaced by a gentle, comforting embrace. It was a strange, almost magical feeling, like stepping into another world. It was then, just as Alex looked up in wonder, that something happened. From a high, shadowy shelf, a single book dislodged itself. It didn't crash to the floor, but rather drifted down, tumbling end over end, like a falling leaf, and landed with a soft thud right at Alex's feet. Alex bent down and picked up the book. The cover was simple, a deep blue with no title, only a small silver star embossed in the center. It felt warm to the touch. Curiosity piqued. Alex opened it. The pages weren't filled with dense text or academic jargon. Instead, they were filled with the stories Alex had adored as a child. There was the tale of the brave knight who befriended a dragon, the story of the lost princess who could talk to animals, and the adventure of the children who built a spaceship out of cardboard boxes and sailed to the moon. They were tales of courage, of magic, of friendship, and of hearts that dared to hope. A forgotten warmth spread through Alex's chest, a feeling of coming home. As Alex stood there, completely absorbed, something incredible began to happen. All around them, the other books on the shelves started to emit a faint, gentle glow. It was a soft, pulsating light, like the breathing of countless sleeping creatures slowly beginning to wake. It dawned on Alex that these weren't just forgotten books. They were sleeping stories. They were the dreams Alex had forgotten, the adventures left unfinished, the characters they had once loved and left behind. They hadn't disappeared. They had simply been waiting patiently for someone to remember them, to open their pages and let them breathe again. The library wasn't a tomb of forgotten tales. It was a nursery of dormant dreams. Alex found a small, comfortable armchair tucked away in a corner, settled in, and began to read. Not rushing, not skimming, but reading slowly, savoring every word. The rhythmic sound of the rain outside became a soothing backdrop to the unfolding adventures on the page. As Alex read, old memories began to surface, the feeling of building a fort out of blankets, the wonder of looking at the stars and imagining other worlds, the simple, pure joy of getting lost in a good story. With each turned page, it felt as if a light was being switched on inside their mind. New ideas, like tender green shoots, began to sprout in the once barren soil of their imagination. The weariness that had clung to Alex for so long began to lift, replaced by a quiet sense of wonder and possibility. Some dreams don't disappear. They simply rest inside you, like sleeping stories, waiting to be opened again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to learn English with stories for more.